Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sven, George, Val, Larry, Alan, Everett, Maurizio, Lucero, Arturo, Rongamer, Francois, Jan, Donald. Hey, everybody. Yeah, Rongamer gave me a ride in a Tesla Model X last night. That was fun. Uh, definitely a different experience. Hadn't been in a high performance Tesla before, or higher performance. And as he said, that was the wussy model. Interesting this morning, came across my news feed that reservation numbers 112 and to some extent reservation number 113 for Cybertrucks. Their order details had changed in on the Tesla page, and I was like, I don't know what number I am, so I looked it up. I am reservation number 112, and I logged in. Sure enough, reservation details had changed. So interesting development. So Cybertruck maybe coming. I do have a Cybertruck reserved. I do have a Silverado EV reserved. We'll see what comes first, chicken or the egg. And good morning, Dan, Jason, Space Cowboy. Good morning, everybody. Do you want to chat with me like those fine folks down there in the chat or over there in the chat? Or it depends on what app you're on for YouTube, where the chat is. Right over here, right down here, the green overlay, little square. Says, just click that, subscribe, be a subscriber on the channel, and you can chat. And you know what? Coming up at 5 p.m. this evening, I have 30 minutes of awesome, where I take your requests for at least 30 minutes. So whatever it is you want me to review, whatever chart, whatever thing, yeah, just come and participate, make your requests. So yeah, I saw that. Pictures of the battery plant look pretty desolate. The ones I saw anyway. Um, I saw they postponed the battery plant. I mean, it's duh. I mean, UAW is putting the screws to the big three. So nothing. I mean, we talked about that yesterday. They can't possibly pay $136 an hour. It's just not gonna work. I mean, UAW got a whole different plan, and I mean, then there's the China probe and the this and the that, and I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, one thing after another. I mean, one thing after another. But all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, and fun. Maybe a little bit of entertainment. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument or any buy or sell, buy anything. Don't buy stocks, don't buy options, don't buy futures, don't buy crypto if you don't know what you're doing. And certainly don't buy any products from any gurus telling you what to do if you don't trust them and you don't understand what they're doing. So that's why I do this YouTube, try to help you get up to speed on what I'm doing and maybe build a little trust with you. So if you desire that personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. All right. They have a fiduciary duty to take care of you. And funny enough, my son was talking about they're going to have a financial advisor come into his one of his classes tomorrow. I thought it was today. It's tomorrow. And he was like, don't they kind of do what you do? I was like, I don't give financial advice, first off. And second off, they're looking for investing. I am more of a trader. I tend to do trades. I was like, the big difference there is I look for short-term opportunities, shorter term. When I look at investing, I think of buying something and holding it for years, at least a year. That to me is investing. If you're looking to hold something less than a year, take advantage of a move that you expect to happen, I consider that to be trading, not investing. Get it right, get your time frame right. If you're on a year's timeline, you need to not be concerned about the day to day necessarily. All right. Sure, it's good to keep an eye on what's happening on the day to day. I mean, you could have avoided this whole big down, but if you're on a year's time from line, you're holding for years. This is just a little blip on the path to wherever we're headed. I think that wherever we're headed could be right up here. Very well. And once we get up there, an investor might be prudent to consider booking profits. All right. But if you're an investor and you're invested for years, Why are you concerned about where the market's turning today or tomorrow? What the little squiggles are. Look at your big end goal. When we get to the big end goal, you got to have the wherewithal to take action, though. You got to be an action taker when we get to the goals, even if you're an investor. Because things can turn south and you can be all of a sudden down quite significantly. And we see that on Bitcoin. You can be a Bitcoin investor holding for years, period. But when we get to the top, you got to liquidate. Otherwise, you're going to suffer that 70% drawdown that we see every cycle. It's just one of those things. So know your time frame. If you're a trader, know your time frame. Are you a months-long trader? Are you a swing trader? You have days and weeks, maybe months. Are you trying to be a day trader? I mean, 90% of, maybe 99% of day traders lose money. So day trading, tough gig. Probably the toughest gig. You got to make a lot of decisions to be a day trader. And you got to be good at making decisions because they cost you, and they cost you fast. So keep it in mind what your time horizon is. Day trading, probably one of the hardest things to do. And when we look at the S&P here for direction, glanced off, but coming in here down 30 on the ES, looking like that wasn't the lowest low yet. I thought we might get a little retrace yesterday. We did. And we're going to test the bottom again. The way we bottomed didn't quite feel like the ultimate bottom yet. We didn't seem to get the full flush out yesterday. We could see a bit lower. And as you can see on this chart, we just missed the roadmap line. So we may actually push down into it, possibly to the bottom of it, fully test it, get a close today, possibly maybe tomorrow, before we can flush this thing on out. Now, news coming up the rest of the week. It is kind of a little bit of interesting stuff coming up this week. We have consumer confidence at 10 o'clock. So coming up in about 38 minutes or so. Got consumer confidence numbers coming out. Then we have core durable goods. And durable goods tomorrow doesn't tend to be a big market mover, at least for Forex. But if you're like, Forex, what the heck are you talking about? That's currencies. And so that comes out tomorrow morning. We'll probably get a little reaction off of that, more than likely in the markets. And then on Thursday, we have GDP, unemployment claims, and we've got some Fed speakers and natural gas and Powell speaking right there after the market closes. These are our Eastern times. And then Friday, kind of a little more benign. Well, we have core PCE. That's Powell's favorite number as far as the actual consumer expenditures. How's the money actually affecting consumers? So we do have that coming out on Friday, and then a revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment and manufacturing PMI. Well, that's China. So, and then next week starts Q4, and we'll probably get Q3 earnings coming out. Start getting the results. So should be an interesting next couple of weeks. Yeah, we could see the market continue on down for a few more days. So just be prepared for that. Like I said, know what your time frame is. Are you a trader? Are you an investor? If you're an investor looking for the longer term, this might be an opportunity to pick up some positions, add a little bit to your stockpile of holdings. If you're a trader, watch for the reversal. Know when you're wrong. It's not being wrong that costs you the money. It's staying wrong. And it's same for an investor. Like, if you're a long-term investor, know where to cut your losses. All right? You're going to be like, I'm going to plunk down this money. I'm going to hold it for X years. Well, if it doesn't start moving, maybe it goes against you. You need to have an exit plan. Even then. All right? So there we go. That's my soapbox monologue for the morning, tied into the S&P's direction. And looks like we're going to get a little more downside here. Now, interesting, Tesla, like I said, took a ride in Cybertruck, potentially a customer deliveries imminent, maybe. Probably start with employees as they normally do, and then start working their way into the list. Probably some high-profile order holders before the masses, the unwashed masses, get some of their trucks. So we'll see what happens here. Looking like we're probably going to touch the roadmap line on the daily. That could last another couple weeks, possibly. Could go fast. We could bottom out and take off. Looks a lot like the NASDAQ chart, though, doesn't it? So Tesla just kind of floating with the NASDAQ right now, not really bucking the trend at all. And we may see that bigger flush out. I'm not sure. I think the market's kind of waiting on Microsoft to hit the roadmap line. We're going to get close, looks like, opening a pre-market at the lows on Microsoft. Wouldn't take a whole lot to get down to the roadmap line at this point. Another $4, $5, put us right down in there. Be pretty good to see. When we started this correction back in July, I thought that Microsoft and Apple would be the two that needed to hit the roadmap line, since they're two of the magnificent seven that have been holding up the whole S&P. You know, you take these seven companies, big tech companies in the S&P 500, and they're up over 50% this year. You take out those seven, and the S&P 493 is only up like 3% this year. Barely up at all. Almost flat. So it's kind of crazy right there when you think about it that way. A lot of people tell me to look at RSP, the equal weight. That thing's just been chopping. I don't really read too much into RSP being any kind of indication, but we are up off the lows. I mean, look, October down here, it's not like we haven't done anything at all. That is 14%. We were at a peak up here around 25%. That's pretty dang good. We did get a pullback. And this chart looks pretty gnarly. We went on a heck of a run out of the COVID low. We haven't really retraced super deep either. And look, that wasn't actually that bad of a move. Clear this up just a little bit. Come down here to low. Come up here. Did a 382. That's like a normal retrace for going higher. And the move into that, can't go far enough back here. We went up into that move. So it'd be from this low to this high and project it off of. I gotta move that over. If this is the low, and that was the first move, retrace, second move, retrace, third move, could take us up to 216 on RSP. It's the potential for this thing to rally right up here for this wraps up. So interesting, right? That's just looking at the price pattern. So S5FI, one of my favorite indicators for market reversals. We've racked up 3 days now below 20. Yesterday was day number 3. Today will most certainly open below, so it'll be day number 4. We don't typically go longer than 2 weeks before popping back above. So keep it in mind that we've already racked up almost a full week of trading days below the S5FI. As stocks above the 50-day moving average, we're below 20%. And we don't tend to hang out there long. It just, we can go all the way on down near 0%. We don't go below 0 so far. But we don't tend to hang out below 20 for very long before we pop. We also don't hang out above 80 very long before we drop. And that's what we did right here. We were above 80 in July. Now we're below 20. Going to work on a reversal. We're going to go back up. near the top again. This is a kind of an oscillator in the market. So we're at the bottom. Everybody's bummed out. Everybody's feeling pretty crap about the market, but we're probably going to rally before long. There's the market open. And S&P goes red by 26. Could have guessed that. ES was down. Here we are. Not a lower low yet. We may push down to a lower low. We may push on down to the bottom of the box here, around 42.60. We'll see what happens here. This could be the final flush out. Maybe. Let's see what the price action actually shows us today. There's ES holding above the lows overnight. Is the White House going to play Let's Make a Deal and we launch off like we did back in June? We'll have to see. You know, it could all be catalysts, but this correction looks like it's getting near the end. Near the done. NASDAQ still has a ways to go. If it's going to touch the roadmap line, not completely sold on that one actually getting there. ES over here does have a gap that it could go fill right there. We don't tend to leave gaps in the futures chart, and we may need to push right down there to 4,300 on ES. That's S&P 500 futures to get that gap filled. That was a contract rollover gap, but we don't tend to leave gaps, period, especially in the futures. So watch out for that move, that spike down to 4,300, and then we could go ripping. I mean, we could get a 150 point up day, even starting out with a dip like that. You know, dropping out 50 points, end up 100 points. That would be a crazy day. We could do it. Market's done it before. So NASDAQ could flush. I don't know. Right now it's a higher low, pretty significantly higher low. So big tech just not participating. We do have that same gap sitting right there. Flush down to that 14,494 area would fill that gap. Who told you October is a bad month for stock? It's not usually the case. And Russell looks like it's going to finish this pattern up right here. Head and shoulders right there. So right there, looks like we're going to finish that up. Let me pull up. Let me find the seasonality thing. See if I can find my seasonality chart really quickly. And nope. And nope. And come on. Closing stuff. And here we go. There we are. Let's talk about seasonality. You say October is a bad month. Look, we tend to start out a little rough, but look at that. If you just look at October, you don't consider where we've been. You know, you have to take seasonality each month on its own. You can't look at, well, the market's done this so far this year, so that's what you expect. No, just look at October. We tend to start out a little volatile and then rip, end up almost 2% higher than the lows. Look at NASDAQ. Same sort of thing. Historically a little volatile in the beginning, and we tend to end up about pretty dang close to 2% higher. All right, October through December, pretty darn bullish. Whoever's sowing the seeds of doubt in October, I mean, do we see some volatility? Yeah, we usually see some volatility spike. This is VIX. It tends to spike, and then it tends to plummet. So just beware what you're spouting, all right? Back it with data. These are 20-year averages right here. All three of these charts I showed you. Taking 20 years of data, aggregating it up. All right, just, you know, September is the one that's a rough one. We just finished we've done 4 years. You know, we're just wrapping up 4 years in a row of having a pretty crap September. 2020, 2021, 2022, and now 2023. We've had a down September. What's 2024 going to be? Odds would say a down September. And we're not even into 2024 at all. So, just base it on real data, not something you heard somebody spout off, all right? go do your own checking. It's not like these charts aren't available. You can go right back here and check every September, every October. Go look at it. Now Russell right here does look like it's going to go lower. Have a significant gap down in the open. The day trade may be a play for a gap fill up. Right now that looks pretty gnarly though. I'm not sure I want to mess with that, but we'll see after I get off here if the trade sets up. Oil probably going to retrace off of here. It may have been a touch. That may have been the high for a little while. I kind of went more neutral when this dropped. Well, actually, we went higher, and my put went higher at the same time. The implied volatility was raising, and my put gained money, so I went ahead and closed it for a little above break even. It was just a weird situation. We were higher than where I bought it, but the implied volatility had risen, so I was like, that's not making me feel warm and fuzzy on, that could be some chaos, and my put could lose money and I'd be completely right. I mean, I've had that plenty of times where you buy an option, you're completely right, but you got screwed on the implied volatility, and so I got off of that. Not too sure what's going to happen right there at the moment. I think we're going to retrace probably back pretty deep before we go higher, but we could just blast off. Entirely possible. Gold potentially pushing out the bottom of. It doesn't look so hot. And I meant to bring a gold chart that was interesting. The worldwide last year we produced 3,100 metric tons of gold. And metric tons like 1,000 kilograms. So that's like 2,200, a little over a U.S. ton. Worldwide we produced 3,100 tons of gold. It was one of the highest production years ever worldwide. So the gold market has to absorb that production just to maintain prices. So money has to flow in to absorb that many tons of gold. I mean, we're not even talking ounces, we're talking tons. And so money has to flow in to absorb that just to keep prices steady. This is what I have a problem with Dogecoin all the time. Like they print every few minutes, they're printing 10,000 new Dogecoins. So just to maintain, all that money has to flow in and absorb those 10,000 new coins. And that may be what gold, supply and demand. We're seeing huge supply hitting the market on gold, even though everybody's like, oh, the earth is running out of gold. Well, that's not what the production chart shows. And for gold prices to go higher, we've got to have some sort of demand, some sort of increase in demand. And right now, that chart is not showing a bullish chart. And we may go down here to 1,800 on gold. So beware all the gold hawks talking about it right now. That's looking like pushing out of the bottom of this triangle. We get a close down here and a confirmation down here. That could be the path. Been warning about that for a couple days. So Bitcoin continues to just kind of churn, sitting right at the top of the box. I would like to see this pop. The Bitcoin profit window is opening. And if you're a member of Crypto Unleashed, I'm going to be talking about that today. And if you are not a member and you're interested, I'll be doing a webinar at 11 talking about the Bitcoin profit window. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, make sure that you are in Discord or on my mailing list or something. I mean, it's like $5. It's in the description. You can get into Discord, get the invite. So there you go. Ethereum looking a little more bearish, consolidating at the bottom of the range and may need that flush down, like I keep talking about every single day. Dollar looks like it's going for the 108 target right up here. May take a little longer. I mean, we may be on kind of this path right here. Compare the lows. May take us out here into late October to get there, but looks like we're on that path. All right, chugga right up in here. Tesla, we already kind of touched on. It's probably needs to touch the roadmap line. Getting a little, start out lower, ramping up. S&P is not really plan, still at the opening price. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Chasing anything long until we bottom in the indexes. S&O, therapeutics, pharmaceutical, biotech. Wow, look at that volume compared to, I mean, this is like a low price. This is like a twofer. It's something under $10 and it's a biotech, pharmaceutical piece of junk. Be careful chasing that. I mean, look at that pop. Way up there to 20, but it can drop just as fast. IMVT. I don't know where I got W. IMVT. Another biotech. Biotechs show up on the list a lot. They tend to move. Another pharmaceutical. Be careful on these things. Biotechs are having a real hard time right now. Healthcare, I think it's XLB. Is that it? No. Can't remember the biotech one. XBI, that's it. Look at this, biotech ETF at the lows. We can break out of this channel. This channel is going down. If we break out the bottom, probably flushing down. Money's expensive, and it costs money to borrow money. So be careful. I'm not getting into any of the new. I don't follow news on biotechs. I don't trade biotechs. They just show up on the morning monster mover list, and I have to warn about them. So, I mean, I throw them up here. I can do the warning. I mean, it's like, be careful, biotech. You know, this one, be careful, biotech again. Even this one, be careful, biotech yet again. Ferguson, was that air conditioners? Wholesale distributors. Like a supply house. Just, that's a lower high so far. Just missed the roadmap line. Could break out. Could. Right up to the resistance. That could go on the third move down. 167, 172 if it's going to break above 160. And that could have been the bottom. Pretty good place to retrace to. Yeah, I'd set an alert from 160. We start pushing above that. 167, 172. Make a few bucks off of that. I don't even know. Liberty Series A, Sirius XM. That sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. That's not bullish looking chart. We may pop back up to the roadmap line. We got a large gap to sit in there. This resistance. I don't know why you would want to try to pick that up. Liberty Media. That looks pretty rough. Pretty rough. Another biotech. These things pop and drop on drug approvals and denials, and they become unpredictable. They'll just break the pattern all of a sudden, so be careful chasing this stuff. A lot of them on the list this morning. Liberty Corporation Series C. So obviously something going on with Sirius XM today, maybe. Liberty Media proposes merger with radio broadcaster Sirius XM. Let's see, SXM. That's not right. I can't remember. Oh, Siri, SIRI. Doesn't look bullish for Sirius. Bullish for Liberty, but not for Sirius. That was a wicked, you know, I warn about these all the time. It went right up, came right back down, right to the lows. We see this all the time. It's a very common pattern. Everybody's like, JT, you don't understand. This thing's about to pop. And I'm like, be careful. Watch your money. This thing's about to drop. And I mean, we see it over and over. Yeah, and that one we've seen pop. It's probably going to, like, eventually when the AI stuff wears down, this thing's probably coming back to 12 at some point in the future. And the VinFast, it's probably coming back to 10. We broke below the rub app line. We held it for a few days. Probably coming back to 10. Hate to tell you. The hype is done and the move is over. It's not going back higher. Not for a while. Probably, I would bet on 10 before I bet on 100. I mean, let's be honest about it, all right? I mean, we see this pattern all the time. This one we have to go back quite a ways. It's not like it's a new occurrence either. Look at this one. Probably need months. Let's go to months. Look, I mean, pop and drop and pop and drop. This one's done it a couple times. It's down here at 2, came back up here to 60, and right back down to 1. Happens over and over. Even GME. I mean, it's on the way back down. I mean, it really is. If it gets below the roadmap line on the monthly, we're coming down. They didn't save the day. I mean, AMC, look at that. Pop and right back down below. Lower low. Be careful. All right, I do this to try to help you not lose all your money. Don't chase the stuff that everybody's talking about. ROIV, another pharmaceutical, biotech. It's like the list is littered with these today. ARGX, another one. ASML, that one looks like it's going for the deeper retrace. Probably heading down here. It's going to work its way down probably over the next couple months. Could take you out to the end of the year. That move is done. Doing the retrace. We hold this area right down here. That becomes an opportunity because the next move up can be pretty huge. But at this point, probably going lower. MDGL, another pharmaceutical. Good grief. That one looks like it's coming back down. Fill the gap back down. These guys had some kind of news this morning and earnings and lost a bunch of money, even though they, lost a bunch of money on billions of dollars. I mean, that's pretty rough. Pretty rough. You've got a 0.04 price to sales. Ouch. And can't make any money moving billions of dollars. They got to increase their margins. That looks pretty rough on United Natural Foods. How low can she go? She can go to 0. Do I think it's a buying opportunity? Shoot, no. I mean, look at this. We've been lower before. We're below the 786. That's all indications are we're going lower low. If we don't just get back up here, this thing's telling you. It's kind of flashing. Hey, I might go to 0 because the next fib down, it doesn't even show up on this chart. Be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful trying to pick up the pieces on something like this. All right, that's a bearish chart. We're getting a bearish confirmation. Prices may be going lower. Thor Industries, this one's been quite volatile lately. Nice big swings back to the roadmap line. If we can hold that area right there, move back up through 106, probably be heading up to 122, 131 on the next move higher. You can see it's done it a few times, that same echo where we get a little extension, retrace. So I wouldn't expect much more than 120, 130 on the next move before it retraces yet again. DPST, that looks pretty gnarly. Daily regionals. Now, we're going to see financials outperform a little bit here as we come into the new quarter. They almost always, it's very rare that we don't see rotation into financials, into earnings, all right? So this could turn up and rally into the first and into the chunk of financials. We're talking Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, you know, all the ones that Wells Fargo, Regions, the list of banks. We all know them. All the big ones, all the little ones. As those banks report earnings, we tend to see a rally. It happens every quarter pretty much. We see just a little rally. It doesn't have to get continuation. It's just a little rally, and then it gets done. And this is a 3 times leveraged thing. Leverage is dangerous. I'm not saying to trade leverage. I just brought it up because this tends to amplify the moves. So definitely be careful here, but there may be an opportunity. We tend to see it right there at the beginning of each quarter. We're not to the quarter yet. We've still got the rest of this week before we start the quarter. So we tend to see that little rally at the beginning of each quarter, even on the back of this one. March, we ended up in March, and then we rallied in April. And then we rallied in July. And then are we going to rally in October? Quite possible. Back here, rallied in October. Back here, we rallied in July. Back here, we didn't really... April was kind of a gnarly month, it looks like, right back here. We kind of got a little bitty rally, but then we dropped out further last year. So, doesn't necessarily hold for very long, but little short-term rally. Like I said in the beginning, remember, if you're a trader, short-term, or an investor, long-term, so make sure you know what your time frame is, what you're chasing. PDD, that looks like it wants to come back to the roadmap line. It really does. That doesn't look like extension higher at this point. Looks like that's probably played out. And retrace, yeah, right to the 1618. Right back to the 100. If it gets below that low right there from the 21st, probably coming back down to the roadmap line. All right. If you hold on the ex-dividend date and sell after, then you get the dividend. You just have to be the holder on the X date. At the close, you have to have settled shares on the X date. If you bought it on the X date, you're not going to get the dividend. You have to have settled shares. So you usually have to buy 2 to 3 days before. I think it's T plus 2. So trade day plus 2 is the settle date. You have to have settled shares on the X date. Then you get paid on the div date, the pay date. If that's not clear, come back tonight. Ask me again. I'll try to explain it more in depth. But market's open, going. I'm going to go see what's crack-a-lackin'. I'll be in Discord if you want to come chat with me and do all the things I do in Discord. Link is down below. It's like $5. You get in there, you can talk to me. You do have to do the authorization thing. You don't just get in there and have access to everything. You got to make sure I do have authorization. Make sure that you're an actual subscriber. So there you go. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern with 30 minutes of awesome. I'll see you guys later.